Welcome, this is Michael Mastro with Transformational Vedic Astrology. Today we're going to look at the chart of Sachin Tendulkar, who is is a legendary cricketer, said to have more hits and runs and, at the top of his game. Born April 24th, 1973, 1440 in the PM, Mumbai. Now, there are many times for this chart. This one seemed to work the best. There's a lot of, this was given by a close friend of the family. So if you look to the eastern horizon when he was born, you would see that the constellation associated with Leo is rising at 10 degrees. 10 degrees becomes the most effective point of every house, and any planet like Venus or Sun that's within 5 degrees of that rising sign degree has a lot of impact. So we want to look first at how the planets are operating, and then and their nature, their functional nature, and then when they're operating, and then what we could do to fix the chart or improve the chart. So first thing we look at is, what did he come here to work on in this lifetime? So wherever you see a Multiconor sign, which are 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11, those are the houses that are activated to, some aspect of his life that he came here to work on in this lifetime. So as you know, many planets rule two signs. For example, Venus rules Taurus and Libra. But for those two signs, Venus is more connected with Libra. Libra becomes the Multiconor sign. And so let's look at where those Multiconor signs are. So 5 is a Multiconor sign. It's Leo, ruled by Sun, in the very first house. So this gives him, fame and fortune and strong life purpose, strength, good health. Sun is exalted, and so it gives him. He came here to work on his life purpose, his name and his fame, and his health. And then you see the 7th sign of Libra in the 3rd house of entrepreneurial success, working on that, ruled by Venus. Then you see Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, in the 5th house of sports. This is the house of children, education, investments, which he's working on all of those things as well. But this is also the house of entertainment and sports. Then he's working on partnerships. You see the 11th sign of Aquarius, ruled by Saturn. This is the house of partnerships. So anybody that's involved in politics or entertainment or sports, it's all about your teammates, how much support you get from your producers and your the people that represent you, your all those kinds of people. Then you see Aries, ruled by Mars, in the 9th house. This is about good fortune, teachers. He had a lot of great coaches that influenced him. His father gave good support at a time when most families didn't want their kids to become soccer players. So yeah, good support from father and government, and he was also in the parliament for a certain amount of time, I guess, involved in politics. So and then he was working on cancers in the 12th house. So any Multiconor sign in the 6th, 8th, or the 12th, the challenging Dusthana houses, becomes functional malefic. So for him, Moon can cause issues at times, especially if it's in the transit chart within 5 degrees of the rising sign degree. It's at 25, so it's not causing harm in the natal chart. But if it becomes conjunct with another planet by aspect or conjunction in the transit chart, it can momentarily, it moves so fast, but if it's within 5 degrees, it can cause some depression, separation, losses, expenses, hospitalization, imprisonment. So all of those things can be possible. So let's look at how the planets are operating themselves. So Sun is exalted at 10 degrees, right on the most effective point. So big impact in his life. And it's conjunct to Venus. So Venus is wife and support from wife, and Venus rules this house of entrepreneurial success. So yeah, gives it. Sun is blessing that Venus, giving it good strength. And Sun is, like I said, exalted. So good support from father, good support from government, good support from father-like figures like coaches that influenced him. Gives him kind of an independent nature, doing things his own way. He'll listen to other people but make his own decisions. Moon is at 25 degrees, functional malefic, as we said. And it's in ruling this house of spiritual growth through letting go of attachments. And so, and it's placed in this house of education. So he had challenges with his education, didn't kind of go very far with his education, although he was a very bright kid. And Moon has an emotional aspect to it. So he got really stressed out and under pressure when he was the captain of the team, created some issues. And then also this can be hospitalization. So you see this is the feet. He got injuries to his toes and his feet and ankles quite a few times. Mars is at 26 degrees. It's exalted. Any planet that's more than 25 degrees becomes in old age, and any planet that's less than 5 degrees becomes infant state. So they become weak. They cannot support or promote their own significations. But it's just barely in old age, so, and it's exalted, so it has some pretty good strength. And it's ruling this house of good fortune. So it says that he can have good fortune through Mars. The signification for Mars is sports and competition, in the house of competition and conflict, so giving him good fighting nature for his sports. But Mars can also create some injuries and health issues in this house. So he got a lot of injuries over the years. It's a pretty rough sport. Mercury's at 16 degrees. It's debilitated in this chart. It's in a Dustana house. So this is the house of accidents. And you can see when we look at the timing of events that during some Mercury periods he got some injuries, accidents. It gives him, great intellect to solve problems. He's good intellect. Mercury in this house gives research into solving problems and research into spiritual things. But Mercury can also be critical in this house. So critical of his teammates, vulnerability with his communication. Jupiter's at 16 degrees. It's debilitated also, and so it's ruling this house of sports, in the house of competition, hard work. So he had to work hard to become successful. He did have a lot of injuries, and Jupiter also has to do with legal issues. So there was some legal issues about taxing, not paying taxes for a Ferrari that was given to him, and he was fined. And he owns a lot of gaming centers called Smash in India. They got into some problems with the building of their buildings without permits, so they had to tear one of them down, I think. Got into trouble with ball tampering, deflating a ball. So Venus is at 14 degrees, close to the most effective point, blessed by Sun. So gives him a strong, beautiful wife. She's a dentist. It's afflicted by Rahu, so can cause some issues there. But gave success through courage and sports. Venus is this, performing for others. So an entrepreneurial success in all his investments with the gaming centers and lots of properties that he owns. Saturn is strong, and it rules this house of partnerships. So, and it's placed in the house of career. So, career through partnerships, teammates that support each other. Yeah, so all politicians and entertainment and sports people have relationships are very important for their success. So, and he did a lot of hard work to get success, practiced for many hours. He did a lot of charity work, charities which are good, and Saturn is service. Now Rahu and Ketu, Rahu's in the fifth house, so it gives desire for the sports and spiritual nature and spiritual fulfillment of desires having to do with some spiritual aspect, and income also affected by spirituality. So, so those are the main points of the planets. Let's look at the timing of events. He was born in a Venus period. Again, Venus being, the success through entrepreneurial investments, and that becomes his root of the tree of life. And this is also can be sports, because it's performing for other people, basically. And he was very handsome, so Venus is also there. So then what I found was he had a lot of injuries from 98 to 2006. It was the subdashas of Jupiter in the house of injuries and health issues, and Mercury, accidents, and Moon was also in there, so that would be hospitalization. And you could even look at the parts of the body, this is feet, feet injuries, and injuries to some different parts of the body. This would be the middle parts, colon, etc., like that. I think he had issues with elbows as well. So one of them was Venus period as well. So you can look at all those subdashas to see when he had those accidents. He retired in 2013 during a Rahu Moon period. Moon is ending, so end of career. So those are the main points. Now, what could we do to strengthen this chart? So we want to transform the malefics, Rahu, Ketu, and Moon. Rahu by helping people who cannot help themselves, Ketu by helping spiritual organizations, and Moon by helping women. And he did all of that. He's very motivated to do charity work. And then also listening to Shiva chants on Saturdays, Ganesh chants on Thursdays, and Shiva chants on Mondays. So those things would be transformative for the malefics. Maybe he wouldn't have as many injuries. Who knows? Then if we look at strengthening his benefics, Saturn, he could wear a blue sapphire. He could wear dark blue clothing. He could wear a kavash containing the Devata Yantra for Saturn. Venus, he could be wearing white clothing, a diamond, sun ruby, orange colors, and also kavash containing the Devata Yantras for Venus, Sun, Mercury, Jupiter. And so Jupiter, yellow colors, yellow sapphire. Mercury is emerald, and green colors. But the kavash containing all of the benefic planets would suffice without a lot of expense and worrying about the quality of the gemstones. So these are the main points for Sachin's chart. If you would like a reading, you could go to www.vastucreations.com under services, or if you would like to learn more about Transformational Vedic Astrology, you can go to American Institute of Vastu.com. We have a level 1 and level 2. You could get certified. Thank you for listening.